While creating an agent, first step is selecting a model. Now, which particular model you choose, that depends what are your use case that you are building with the help of agent. Before we see the model, let's understand what are the different types of model that comes, and it is irrespective of the provider. That model can be of Gemini's, Claude AI, or OpenAI, or any open source. It depends what are your use case. So first of all, we have to categorize the model, whether it's a small model and a large model. Large models generally take higher latency, but at the same time, they provide better answer because they have the higher parameters as well as they can model better. But if your application is latency sensitive, then you should use the smaller model, and the smaller model will be fast, but definitely the quality of the output will not be that. So if you decide whether you want to go with higher model or the small model, if your application is sensitive for latency and also you want to become better in the output, there is a technique called tuning, fine tuning of a model, where you will use a small model, but you will train it with your own data, and the output generated will be much better than the raw or the instructed model, than your fine tuning model, or even the larger model can give the same kind of output, but at a lower latency. So you have to make a very decision whether you have to train your own model with fine tuning, or you want to go with raw model with some tools. I will talk about the tools later. Or you are going with a large model, and within the large model also there is a topic called reasoning. So large models can reason means it can take some number of tokens, whether it can first think about the problem and then try to answer. So when thinking, it is breaking basically that particular task into the smaller task, and then trying to get the data of those small tasks and then generate the final output. And the reasoning, there's a parameter, almost all models which takes the reasoning, takes the parameter whether it has to think at higher, medium, or low. So but when you go higher, definitely it will take longer time. So if you are building an AI agent which need to returns very fast, then I would say don't go with the reasoning model. Use some other techniques like providing the right tools, or fine tune your model. So there are different ways. Right now, let's see when you have to fine tune a model, or you will go with your own raw model. So fine tuning is a bit of process where you need some data in a proper format so that you can fine tune and make the model learn your own data. There is an exercise that you have to do. You have to collect the data, properly format it, do the learning exercise, and during this fine tuning learning, it will try to understand your own data. So if you're building something where you need higher model, but you want your latency you want to reduce, or the cost you want to reduce, so go with the smaller model and fine tune with your data. Obviously, it will depend if you have that data and you can define how to collect that data, and that is comprehensive enough so that the model will understand your use case properly. Then only you will go with fine tuning. Otherwise, go with normal model. Here you can use the RAG. RAG is basically providing the context of your own data, and RAG is generally preferred if you have a lot of proprietary data which you don't want to fine tune in a model, or your that knowledge base of RAG basically is increasing or changing over a period of time. Then instead of going fine tuning, RAG is a better approach, because your context can be provided in vector store, it can be changed, it can be added more. Whereas the fine tuning will take some time, and you have to make a cutoff date that okay, this is your data on which you want to make your model train. If you make a decision on model and which particular technique, whether going with fine tuning or RAG, then your approach moves to the second stage of agent building. And we will talk about those tools, what are the different capabilities that you want to add in the next video.